Welcome to the Group Home Riches Podcast. If you have the desire to be your own boss, create your own schedule, and become financially free while at the same time helping people in need, then you've come to the right place. At GroupHomeRiches.com, we teach people exactly like yourself how to get started in the group home business. And on this podcast, you're going to hear their stories firsthand. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Group Home Riches Podcast. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. So one of the main struggles that a lot of our coaching clients and Gold Course students have is, reaching out to landlords, learning how to work with them, learning how to speak with them. So a couple days ago, it's Ben, right? Do you go by Ben?
Correct.
I,
Correct.
Ben reached out to me. He's got a couple properties. He's he's got the Gold Course, but he's just kind of trying to navigate this thing. We talked about potentially partnering with some of our students. So I just wanted to have Ben on really just so you guys can see how an investor, quote unquote pitch would work. So let's say we always recommend you guys go to real estate meetup groups or get onto Facebook, try to find local investors. And who knows? Ben could be mean. He could be, like one of those guys on Shark Tank. He could really grill me, but about 99% of the time, I just wanted to kind of show you guys how these things go. They are typically not like that. They're human beings just like all of us. So Ben, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Appreciate you having me. Thanks, Brandon. Happy to be here.
I don't get the impression that you're gonna grill me like Kevin Harrington or anything like that.
Probably not. You're too good at what you do.
But yeah, just for the folks listening out there, why don't you just give a kind of a background on yourself, and then I always like to find out, what drew you to this business. Why did you find us? It's not something that you just typically see on like an infomercial or something like that.
Okay, yeah. My name is Ben Dreiser, born and raised in Los Angeles, California. Have been in real estate since I've been 18, and I'm about 40 now. And it actually started with an infomercial back in the day from a gentleman, Carlton Sheets, that
Okay.
created No Money, No Money Down. And that kind of started the journey. And then from there, one of my buddy's friends, dad heard me talking about it. So he introduced me to a brokerage firm. So when I was right as I turned 18, got my broker's license, worked in brokerage and development for a while too. My dad's a general contractor and I am now too. So I worked with him probably the last 15 years. So I also have my general contractor's license as well. Now to just kind of fast forward at what brought me to Group Home Riches, I think it was a mix of a few things. There's one project, also, I guess one more thing to add. About 2.5 years ago, my partner and I became very interested in the affordable housing space. So we do have some mobile home parks in a few different states, a few in Little Rock, Arkansas, and one in a city in Pulaski, Pennsylvania. And then we are in escrow for another mobile home park here in Bakersfield, California. In addition to that, there is a property in Fresno where I applied and won a grant for a permanent supportive housing project in Fresno. This project, uh, I maybe before I went for the grant, I didn't realize exactly what permanent supportive housing means and what exactly the restrictions kind of it comes with. And now I can see why Brandon, you and Andy talk so frequently, like, we don't want to deal with the grants. It's a lot of paperwork. It also comes with a lot of restrictions, and it's not sunshine and rainbows, and there's a lot of things to kind of pivot and navigate through as well. So because of that project over there, now I had to start to figure out how to actually make the project work. And because of that, it kind of brought me to the group home model because I didn't have a clear understanding of how group housing or this affordable housing or how homeless shelters operate or the transitional shelters operate. So through that process, and also my partner in the mobile home has had an affinity to start a sober living facility. This is just something he talked to me about. So kind of everything came together with this Fresno project, with my partner, and then I started going down the rabbit hole. Started actually listening to first sober living podcasts of operators, and then eventually I found Group Home Riches. And it's funny because majority of the podcasts I saw for other niches within the group home space are all Group Home Riches alumni.
Yeah.
Like literally all of them, like five out of the six are people that are part of this community and who kind of learned like their 101 from from you guys. So the information is incredible. I think
Yeah.
I've been a Gold Course member for just under a month, and I think I'm 90% through every one of the actual podcast episodes. So
Nice. Yeah, this is
don't
the
sleep on it,
treasure.
anybody.
This is the treasure trove that Ben's talking about. And yeah, we like most of the people that start out with us, we tell them to kind of cast a wide net, make your connections, kind of learn where the demand is in your area, and then from there you can niche down. um, or to go into focus on sober living. You could go down the licensed route. You could go down like the nonprofit route, or go to get grants. But for most people, we teach them, or we recommend them to learn how to walk before you start running and getting into all the paperwork and stuff like that.
And you nailed it on the head. And I don't even like in one of the emails that I sent you, I said your guys' course is the secret sauce. I think it's so much more than just like the basics for group home living. This is in essence, you can go into any market, you could start the marketing, see where the demand is. Now you have the power. You can approach any. You're talking about being scared to approach a landlord or developer. You can approach a single family. You can approach apartment owners. If you have the ability to fill people's spaces and have that, waiting list of people, especially the wide net of different communities, the amount of leverage and power that gives somebody in any market is incredible. That's why going through the gold course, I'm just my hamster wheel starts turning because not only is this good for one property, this is good for every single property. And we're looking at returns for even these mobile home parks, but now that just like the light bulb, what happens if we're doing room rentals or what happens if we're doing bed rentals? Now we have a waiting list. Now we don't have to deal with evictions and people of this nature. Just the amount of positives and the business that can be created is it's incredible. Just like having that knowledge and your ability to start creating those connections in the different cities, I don't think people realize how powerful that is and how valuable you become.
Yeah, it's really we intentionally try to keep it non-specific. We keep it general so you can apply the majority of the concepts to, like you said, really any strategy you wanted to get into. Um, Looking back on it, Edith, because I know you're working, like you said you have the permanent, what is it, permanent supportive housing.
Yeah, the permanent supportive housing where we won a grant and we're going to be developing that project. It's going to be a 26 unit uh brand new construction project, mostly one bedrooms and four two bedrooms in that facility.
I know it's hindsight is always 2020, but do you wish that you kind of learned how to navigate the industry like before you got into that?
It's yes and no. It's still in the future. And I
Uh-huh.
think it's forcing me to kind of level up because I need to make the project a success. I've been networking with everybody. Everything that you guys teach in the course, I've been doing. I've become uh, people are probably like the continuum of care. Pretty much every city or county has a continuum of care, and more majority of them you can become a member too as an individual. Sometimes it's $50, sometimes it's $100. But what that does for you, if anybody's listening, that gives you a list of everybody who's everybody, for the most part, who's helping the homeless situation in that city. So by just signing up to one of those, sometimes you get everybody's email and everybody's contact information. So I've just been going into the deep end, just networking with everybody, telling everybody what I'm trying to do and just showing my passion and wanting to help. Uh, but there's still some T's to cross and I's to dot with that permanent supportive housing project because it does come with caveats. Some projects come where they have budget to pay for that supportive housing. My particular grant did not come with money for for the actual individuals. It was just for the construction. So now learning what I've learned from the group home rich is now like doing SSI and SSDI and making that part of the enrollment process and doing beds versus units. Now there's a way to make this project pencil out without having to require the city to come back to the table or trying to renegotiate or killing the deal in its tracks. I think this kind of opens up a lot of doors and just making the connections with, like you said, the churches, the nonprofits, all the different people in the community, just letting them know what you're trying to do. I think it's, again, saying it one more time, exactly what the Gold Course says. Just start talking to people, let them know what you're doing. Even if you don't have the project live, let them know what you are trying to do. And most people are more than happy to help somebody who's looking to help, especially these populations too.
Yeah, and we we have sample, meetings in the Gold Course with these types of organizations and people in the industry. And yeah, it's have you ever done have you done wholesaling before and cold calls and stuff like that? It's
Yeah,
totally
that's it's completely it's like night and day.
yeah. Once you get a hold of the people that you need to speak with, they're extremely thankful for the most part. So it's
And
it's night and day.
I hear you compare it to that, and then you hear people like, "Oh, I made like 5 or 10 calls, and that's all it takes." And it seems like it's very frequently 5 or 10 calls. Go watch somebody who's a wholesaler, like you said. There's one gentleman, shout out Henry Eisenstein on YouTube. Uh, he's a commercial wholesaler, but they're making 300 to 500 calls in a day. We're talking about you can make 5 to 10 calls, and most likely within those first 5 to 10 calls, you'll probably have a very good connection. And if that person's not the right person, always asking, do you know anybody else that would be worth me talking to? Or who's the great person to talk to? Or can you connect me with somebody that you think can help me? Like it's really endless what you can do with just a few phone calls.
I'm half joking, but if anyone out there is kind of, afraid or nervous to start marketing and networking, I would encourage you to go get a job, like a cold calling job, and just do that for one day and then come to this and you guys will be thankful.
Yeah, or in the school group, there's so many incredible people in the school group. If you're scared, just link up with somebody else. Just take turns making calls to different organizations in your area, and probably within one day, both people will have, a few great lead sources to either follow up with or email or potentially have a referral source right there. So it is that easy. It's not rocket science.
Yeah. We you're familiar with the podcast, so we definitely we hammer that point anytime we get a chance to. So wanna rewind a little bit. So you have the project, the grant was for the construction, and then you were like, okay, now I need to learn how to, fill this up and get paid once it's built, basically.
Correct. That's kind of how it went down.
Yeah.
There's just it kind of how did I win that grant? It's connections with the city. There was another, there's a lot of different sam.gov. There's something called Planet Bids that a ton of different, cities have. There's a few different websites where you can see where it's either called an RFP, a request for proposal, or a NOFA, notice of funding availability, where they release what the grant is for, and you can search for affordable or you can search for housing, and pretty much on any one of those, they're in every single city. If you want to even get into the space, go to that NOFA or that RFP, and there's usually a contact on there to ask questions. Call that person and just build a relationship with that person. That's exactly how this came to pass. I built a relation with somebody from a prior actual like funding where I didn't even apply for it, but I built that relation. And because I was consistently calling, checking in, asking questions, they let me know about another grant. And the one that I was eventually awarded for this project was one that they only gave people 1 month timeline. And yeah, it was only a 1 month timeline, and I was the only person who actually submitted. And the only reason I knew about it is because I was persistent and consistent uh, about calling. And I think, like you said, the money is in the follow up.
Yeah, 100%.
And then
And
I think I want to add one point to the money is in the follow up. From working in construction, and especially if you're dealing with inspectors, sometimes those inspectors or city workers are only at their office desk from like 7 in the morning till 8 o'clock or 8:30 in the morning. So it's of utmost importance. There's been mornings because I needed to talk to somebody that I'm calling the same person every 5 minutes. It's not like they're getting annoyed. This is just a state, their phone just rings. So you can't be scared to call and you can't think you're being rude because you're calling multiple times in a day uh, or leaving messages every few days. None of that's rude. I think city and city workers appreciate the person who's willing to call and call back and ask questions and engage. Uh, so I don't think you'll ever be annoying.
I get the impression that they don't follow up with anybody that doesn't follow up with them consistently.
100%. They get too much stuff come across their desk. So if you're not hitting them when they're there, you're not going to get the attention that you
It's like
want.
one phone call or one voicemail or one email doesn't even count.
No, that won't do anything.
And
You might be lucky, but usually that one phone call is not going to do it.
we have this we put this new section in the gold course together where we show a full conversation, from start to finish, and you'll see that at every single point our virtual assistant had to follow up like twice about everything. So
100%.
yeah, so guys, you heard it here. Thought we were going to talk about investing, but he's just reinforcing the idea of how important, the marketing and the follow-up and stuff like that is. So, if you guys are wanting to work with investors or wanting to, get started in this business, um, that's the first step. And I think you kind of, um, you referred to that a little bit, that like I think you said it gives you the leverage, right?
Oh, 100%. Look, in any of the markets, we have a single family that's currently vacant in Las Vegas. We have the mobile home park in Pulaski, Pennsylvania. We have the mobile home parks in Little Rock, Arkansas. If somebody came to me and said, I already have a pipeline of people, can we work together? I would say, yeah, let's make something happen. I know what I'm getting per trailer. If you can get me more or a little bit more and it can be consistent, or if there's a partnership opportunity, yeah, I think not every, but I can tell you for sure my team would be more than happy to talk to you. Even if somebody said, even if somebody had a pipeline built in a different market that I wasn't a part of, just knowing that I had that person in that market who has already the referrals built up, that would incentivize me to invest in that market because now I know I have somebody that can help with the operations and uh filling that investment up.
You talked about it a little bit before we started recording, but I'd want them to hear it from from your mouth, because me and Andy will do like the role play on the podcasts and interviews and stuff like that. But like, you know, why wouldn't you work with someone that has the pipeline and was looking to partner with you? I think you said it'd be a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, in most cases, it would be a no-brainer. Look, there's different deals that have different, like the permanent supportive housing. I have a lot of relationships that I've built with a lot of the higher ups in the city. So if somebody's coming to me and they have zero experience and this is going to be their guinea pig of a project, it's probably not the right one. But if somebody already has some experience with this population and I believe that they would be capable of running this type of facility, yeah, by all means. And especially for the smaller projects or single families or testing it out in a trailer, it would just, especially if they're part of this community, it gives them like that little stamp. I would definitely be open to talking with anybody.
Yeah,
Be
that's what I
lack of
meant.
experience
So
or a tire kicker. If somebody comes to me and they say they have all these connections, and that's fine if they don't and they're honest, but if you're fronting and you say you do and you don't, and then now it's like don't don't mess with people's trust. Be honest.
let's dive into that. Because we have scripts in the course. We have calls, live calls, so where they can hear it. It's not about like, hey, what do I say to a landlord? It's about what you do. It's about being able to, yes, we have those scripts as a guideline. The main point is to be able to say that stuff honestly and confidently. You'll have that confidence. Excuse me. You'll have that confidence if you guys follow through and tell and do what we tell you to do. If you do have, five connections, you got nonprofits and social workers, they're following up with you like, hey, so and so, did you get a property yet? We have 10 people that we need to place. You guys can do all this work in the gold course that costs you absolutely nothing. As long as you have an internet connection and a phone, you can do this. You don't need a grant. You don't need a lot of money. You don't need a capital investment or anything like that. You can pick up the phone, network with these organizations, put yourself in the position, get in the position to where you feel like you need a property. And that's when, for somebody like Ben, if someone were to come to you in that position, Ben, then it would just be a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, now we're talking.
Yeah, there we
You
go.
have the MOUs, like you say, and you have the relationship with the organization, and you can show good faith with that. Then yeah, let's explore how we can work together and potential other opportunities. I think an interesting thing that I found even in the last month with talking to different charities and talking to different organizations is when you start to tell people what you're doing, other opportunities will open up. Even with my minimal phone calls and people that I've been in contact with, there's been multiple other development or real estate opportunities that come up just from sharing what you're trying to do. So,
We
and then I
have,
will also add two things. If somebody didn't have the connection, you can literally go to any probably mobile home park owner or apartment owner. And if you have that already list built up, there's some type of deal you can make with the owner of those parks. And it's not that difficult to find park owners. Go to another podcast that just interviews mobile home park owners. There's a few podcasts out there. They always give their contact information at the end. If they're in your city or operate out of the city, give them a call, send them an email, let them know what you can offer them, and the sky's the limit, honestly.
yeah, 100%. You brought up a great point, and I want to come back to the point you just made, but you talked about how you just let these people know what you're doing. Maybe even if you're not going to work with that particular organization or that program that you're speaking with, they'll refer you to other people. They want to help you out. On this call with the coaches, it's in the gold course. Jade pulls up an email. It was one of the first people that we talked with as part of the Done With You program. And it was a woman. She was like the head of a very large organization in Dallas. And she just shared with Jade like 90 emails. 90 emails for people in the industry. Uh, we weren't going to work on that particular like voucher program that she was pitching us, but she shared, a ton of information with us. She refers people to Jade that maybe they're waiting for a voucher. So, uh, you guys can see a real life example of that point that Ben was just making in the gold course here. Um,
I can give another example from this week because we have that property in Bakersfield. I want it to be something special, and now like learning about group home riches and what we potentially can do and how we can service potentially different communities from transitional to permanent housing and just a whole array of different demographics. I made an effort to reach out to, in that particular city, it's called the supervisor. It's pretty much the council member of the city. I reached out to his office a few times, was able to get a meeting, had the meeting on Monday. Part of that meeting, the chief of staff was there, really nice lady. Because of that meeting, one, they said, whatever we can do to help you to like achieve your goal, we will. and asking them what, like, who else should I talk to, they gave me some incredible contacts in that area. Some of which I would have never, it wasn't them directly, but when you start asking and you see who else can help, uh, the doors open.
Yeah, and it's a
So I would
pretty it's
point
a
that out,
small
right?
it's a small world once you get into that community.
And it's not that if like you said, if you lead with your heart and people know you want to do good and you're willing to show that and show up, I think it's very easy to penetrate these circles and communities. And I know I've heard a lot of people talk about how like doing some volunteer work. I think that's a great way to just learn exactly how some of these operate, meet the right people, shake hands, and kind of connect to the community. It goes a long way.
Yep, 100%. You had another great point earlier that I forgot to highlight is be truthful and honest. If
Yeah,
you are just starting out and you're brand new, say that.
100%.
Don't act like don't pretend like you're Ben and try to think of, what would a seasoned investor say at this moment, and try to talk about the properties that you have that you really don't have. That's what's going to instantly turn people off, and that's when you might get kind of a negative reaction.
100%. I think somebody coming to me, you know what? I have no experience. I love what you're doing. I like mobile home parks. I would love to see how to work, group home model in a mobile home park. Can I go out there and call and start seeing if I can generate some, marketing or some lead flow for you? I would love to work with that type of person. But if you're saying, oh, I have this and I have that, and then you were kind of not being truthful or a little bit shady about it, it's like, what's the purpose? There's no point. People like people who are honest, even if you don't have the skill set, but are willing to like work and show it. It goes a long way.
What about people that come to you and they say things like, I don't know if they have done this, but just imagine it like, hey, you know, I'm in Fresno and I want to learn the business, and I need, I don't have any money, so I'm gonna need money to like get a property, will you teach me everything?
No. Sign up for group home Richters now.
Yeah.
Do the homework and then come back to me after you've done a little homework. Show me that you're willing to help yourself, and then now we can talk about helping you. No one wants to help somebody who's just asking. Provide value. If you're just asking and trying to like suck value from me, that's not going to go far with most people, I don't think. If you come saying, this is what I've done, this is where I think I can provide value, how can we work together? How can I provide value to you? Completely different conversation.
Yeah, it's there's these aren't bad, but you guys, hey, think of don't think that like sales or marketing is like a bad thing. You need to sell yourself. You need to put yourself in the shoes of somebody like Ben. Does Ben want to take somebody underneath his wing and just answer all their questions that are easily found in the gold course or even in our YouTube section? He might, probably not. He might do it like thinking, all right, maybe this person has potential. But uh, if you do all that stuff on your own, if you put in the work, if you're gung ho, if you do everything that you can on your own, and you bring value to somebody like Ben, like, hey, I have these connections. I'm to the point where, I think I'm ready to fill up a property, and I'm looking to partner with investors. That's going to be a no-brainer. Or if you guys are really brand new and you just want to partner with people and learn the ropes, offer to do free work. Do not come to these people asking for stuff like, hey, I have a question about marketing, what should I say here? Like don't waste these people's time. You need to bring value.
And I
So
think I Dwayne talking in a different one of your podcasts. If you have access to the gold course and you're just asking questions that's already in there, and you haven't taken the effort, like he said, he's a sports player, and I believe in that mentality. Show the hard work, show the effort, prove to yourself first, and then you can prove to other people that you want it. Just being a vampire won't get you anywhere.
Yeah, it's like for investors and business owners, as soon as people come to you like that, it's an immediate red flag and you are going to get ghosted. Um, you know what? There's a lot of good posts in here. I'm trying to, yeah, here we go. Don't do this. This is you may find a buddy that wants to learn the gold course with you. No investor is going to reach out and be like, yeah, you know what? I really want to teach this person the ropes. I've gone through the gold course and like, look at Ben. He just said he's watched 90% of our YouTube videos and has gone through the gold course and stuff like that. He's not gonna, there's no way he's gonna partner with someone that hasn't done that on their own, even when he's done it and he doesn't even really need to. So
And the investment, like you said, the ROI on this business model, especially when you're looking at potential lease or an option to buy or a lease option or taking over subject to, you can't, you put in the legwork. Like you said, I think if you build up the marketing and you already have the referrals in place, finding an investor to invest your ten to $15,000 for your down payment for your beds to set up your house, I don't think you're gonna have any problem as long as you do the homework and the legwork and already have that kind of like funnel built out, and you can prove to them that once this house does open, you'll be able to finish it or furnish it and get it full pretty quickly.
so again, sorry to put you guys on blast, but I'm just showing, what not to do. So, if you were an investor in Louisville, Ben, would this one entice you and make you want to reach out to this person?
Only if I was new and wanted a battle buddy. It's more
Yeah.
like a battle buddy type post
Yeah.
than an investor. That's yeah.
Bare bare minimum, say something about yourself. Like, hey, I've been in sales before. I've done this, this, and this. Like, show something. Um, or take a day in the gold course, learn the basics, and then a day on the phone to you gotta bring something to the table to if you want to work with these folks. So I can't stress that enough. We say it in all of our podcasts in the gold course in the school group. But yeah, I want you guys to hear this stuff from an actual investor that is looking, uh, if not actively seeking. I think you'd be very open to it in the markets that you're investing in it. If somebody that was sharp and had done the legwork and is ready to kind of fill up a property, I think you'd be open to working with them, right?
100%. I
Fashion.
would even love to hear from people who already have that set up in markets that I'm not in, just so my radar is open and now I know I have, an excellent resource in a particular market that if I do see a deal or something does come across my desk, I now potentially have that operational partner to kind of take it the whole way there.
Perfect. Now that I know that, I'll get with the coaches. This is our done with you program, all the clients that we're working with. I'll get with them and see like, all right, who are some of the folks that are in the best position to really fill up a property. They've had a couple talks with investors and it just didn't work out, or they're looking to purchase a property or something like that. And we'll kind of brainstorm and follow up with you on that.
Yeah, that would be awesome. This
Also,
look, the group home model takes any type of real estate and just I think that was another thing that kind of attracted me towards this was how do we make money from some of these deals that maybe are not as good as we wanted them to be in our initial underwriting. And this potentially has the legs to not only make it as good, but significantly better and allow us to actually start seeing returns significantly sooner. So I'm extremely excited to see what we're able to do. Especially, I heard another one of the podcasts from a lady Nicole that you had yesterday, who's actually did the group home model within a mobile home park, which was
yeah,
perfect timing, and that's incredible. It
yeah,
blows
one
my
of that's
mind the returns. Like,
and the mobile homes are pretty lucrative just with a standard, kind of standard model. But yeah, if you do the shared housing on top of that, you know, it just
It just takes it to, just to even give an example, for one of the Arkansas parks, for rent of a two-bedroom, we were looking at 700 when we originally underwrote it, and three bedrooms, a rent of 800. We've already been able to just exceed that with the market rents and with like Section 8. So now for some of the new units, we're getting upwards of 1,000 to 1,200 on some of those units. If we integrate this group home and now we can do, whether it's $500 for a bedroom or doing multiple, the ROI becomes, it becomes awesome.
yeah, it's we say like on a typical, you know, residential property, you know, 4 or 5 bedroom, we say that again, in general, you could see, you know, 10x the cash flow. You probably see us say that a lot. Is that accurate?
Yeah, if we hit these numbers, it would definitely get start to get close to there. I don't know what the exact number would be, but it would be very enticing.
Yeah, we're thinking, you know, most investors are looking to make, you know, $200 or $300 in cash flow. That's kind of a typical, you know, rental property. But then if you just, you know, if you just double it up and you're getting, you know, $600, $700 per bed, you're gonna end up cash flowing instead of 2 or 300, it ends up being like 2 or 3 thousand. So those are kind of the
I can
typical.
say, sorry, as
Go ahead.
being a mobile home park owner, anybody in any market, if you already have the lead flow and you go to one of these guys, there's different type of parks. There's parks where the community owns the park. So like we own a lot of the trailers, and there's other ones where the actual tenant own their trailer. But for these parks where the actual landlord or the property owner owns these trailers, which are a ton of them, if you can give them their market rent or $100 over, they will give you every single trailer that they have in their entire park, especially if they don't have to deal with like evictions. And because we're dealing with an affordable housing community, we're always having, something come up. So I can just tell you from my own experience, if somebody came to me, I would give them every single one of our units, you know? If they could do that.
That's an interesting strategy. Never even thought of that. So I want to see somebody out there listen and take action on that. That's a great point though. It's just in general, if you guys do what we teach you, you create that foundation, you create that leverage, you actually hold up your end of the bargain. You know, you pay maybe a little bit above market rent, or you work out some type of split of the profit, something like that, and you handle the maintenance stuff, you deal with all the management. I'm telling you guys, it's an absolute no-brainer for an investor to work with you because uh, even if it's like $100 or $200 above market rent, in a lot of cases, that might double the investor's profit. Um, and if you can throw in that caveat of, hey, I'll handle all the miscellaneous maintenance calls, you just solved all their problems for the most part.
I wouldn't even start off by offering, I would offer market rent, and just the fact
Yeah.
that like the people are not having to take care of the maintenance issues is huge. And that there's never going to be an eviction. I think people can push that point, and then if the landlord gives any resistance, okay, give an extra $100 or $200. But there is a huge value proposition to the landlord not having to deal with their everyday tenants and having somebody kind of manage and take care of minor repairs and maintenance.
Yeah. I'm I'm chuckling because I'm thinking of like the my calls with Andy and my brother and just the nightmares that they have to deal with. So you guys
100%.
really need to like get it, you know, just try to put yourself in an investor's shoes. And I would go, you know, learn the language, kind of learn the stories. Go, don't just listen to our podcast, but go listen to other, you know, real estate investor podcasts. Network with them, kind of learn their business. So you know, you don't just see him as somebody like, oh, you know, I just got to get this person to allow me to rent the property and maybe I can say something to kind of get in and they won't know what I'm doing. It's totally not like that. These people will want to work with you guys if you approach it right.
Yeah, I
Another,
think, like you said, go onto Zillow, go to the for rents, probably within the first 10 phone calls, as long as you kind of have your spiel or your script down, somebody will say yes.
yeah.
On an independent living, and we will take care of the maintenance. You're already there. At
And
least
that's,
from my opinion, and knowing how dealing with like rentals. So it's I think there's a huge value add there, and it's
yeah.
not that hard.
Another great podcast for you guys to listen to is the Landlord Whisperer with Nicole. And yeah, kind of to your point, she doesn't offer above market rent. She offers market rent, but I'm gonna pay on time. You know, I'll handle the maintenance, and she's got investors, banging down her door, ready to work with her. So kind of to that point, let's rewind a little bit. What kind of made you and your it's a business partner that got into affordable housing? What kind of drew you guys to that? Was it economic conditions? Was it cash flow or what?
To rewind back how we got into like the affordable housing space, my family was going through a 1031, and at that time, uh, I knew my partner. His name is Dustin Kircher. We actually met in another community. Shout out Pace Morby and Sub Two. Uh, we
You're
have
you're one of many that we kind of have an overlap. So yeah, shout out to Pace. Um, we
great,
need
great
we need
community.
we need to
There's
collab sometime.
tons of information in there and just a ton of great people. But met him through that, was just looking for, again, just reaching out to a lot of different people, saying what kind of deals were on the table. He had a deal, a smaller deal in Alabama, a small mobile home RV park. We ended up flying out to check it out. I was just going to be, or we were going to be just an investor in the deal. That one didn't work out, but because we traveled together and built good rapport and kind of had the same vision, we decided we wanted to go all in with mobile home and just create a business within the mobile home park space and the affordable housing space because we both were very passionate about this particular niche. So that's kind of what got me into the affordable housing.
Excellent. Are you seeing anything like in that group or kind of in any of the other like real estate networks? Are you seeing a trend of investors being more open to, you know, just affordable housing in general?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are like the affordable housing model. No one talks about it the way you guys talk about it. I know, in every one of this community, because he talks about everything under there, there's the co-living. Exactly. He's the first one to pop up. So they do talk about co-living, but it's usually through like a third party company like Pad Split, and you're
Uh-huh.
still dealing with individuals. So it doesn't seem as seamless. And it doesn't deal with these government programs that are actually paying, which I think is one of the most beautiful things that you guys teach, is that you can almost set this up like a Section 8 business without having to deal with evictions or anything
Hmm.
like that. So it's kind of the best of both worlds in that a lot of the things that you're kind of scrolling through are these co-living models, but they're not as seamless, I think, or well
And
organized as what
and
you guys
and
kind of.
they're new. You'll notice that all of these videos are within the last year.
Yeah.
Uh, sober living has maybe a little bit more. There's our boy Andrew, first one that popped up. Um, you'll see a lot more kind of sober living stuff, or I guess maybe not. Couple points on why I want to bring this up is I think that investors are will be a little bit more open to it initially. I remember when I first got into real estate investing, there was a really kind of it was like a really negative kind of connotation, even with Section 8 housing. And I remember being at a meetup group where a guy, I mean, his pitch was really bad. Um, but I'm pretty sure he was pitching something like group homes and things like that. and everyone kind of laughed at him. But it was a really bad pitch. But uh, I think now a lot more people are they're seeing stuff like this, co-living, Section 8 doesn't have as kind of a bad rep. You see a lot more people talking about sober housing. I know Pace has a couple videos on like sober living investing and things like that. So I've never been at a real estate investing group and talked to investors and not had people like super interested in it. I remember being at a meetup and at a line of like five people waiting to talk to me. So
Yeah, it's no one's being able to suck as much value out of a property as you guys are able to. And I think some people just use the wrong verbiage. Like group home sometimes is not always looked at the best. I think co-living is a lot more delicate on the tongue, or independent living. Some investors may, because some people may just have a negative kind of connotation to group home. They may have a different sense of what that exactly means, even though it can mean 20 different
yeah,
things.
great point. Great point. And you guys will see that in our scripts and in the talks. We just like to say affordable housing, keep it nice and
Exactly.
vague, right?
That's
Hey,
way better.
hey Ben, I'm a new investor looking to get my first property. Rather than go to the traditional route, I'm looking to get into affordable housing. I have this strategy that can 10x the cash flow of a typical rental property, get government checks, guaranteed government checks, have way more control over the property. As an investor at a meetup, you know, tell me your eyes aren't going to light up if someone said that to you.
Of course. Yeah, without a doubt. The only thing I would want, if you're telling me 10x, I'd probably want more than market if you're going to say that.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's where every kind of individual situation comes into play. We have a lot of folks that are just like they might not have enough to get, that first rental property, the deposit, the furniture, the supplies and stuff like that. And they're looking for an investor to partner with. So that's where we kind of,
Oh yeah.
hey,
Oh, as for a partnership, that's exactly what I would want to hear. And
yeah,
I think a lot of people would be able to find partners that would be willing to put up the money to like for the beds, and they're not like it's not that much money. Or I would be even more intrigued to work with somebody that already says, I'm going to go to Salvation Army, or I already have this Facebook Marketplace. I'll be able to furnish the house, blah, blah, blah. I'll be able to take care of this, and I'll be able to get everything done within 2 weeks. Like if somebody showed me and already had kind of like the pieces in place, that would make me a lot more excited about working for them. Even if that meant giving them, somebody potentially could negotiate free rent as well with me. Give me setup time, whether that's a month, maybe potentially 3 months or 6 months. If you never know what you get, like what you can get for if you ask.
there we go. Kind of answered one of the questions I was going to ask. But yeah, if someone was, super confident, motivated, super positive, they're doing everything that they can possibly do, within their kind of budget and their situation, you would be willing to, basically it's a business partnership, you know. Um, but again, I just want to reiterate, if somebody like Ben or another investor are putting up their capital, their property, they're investing in stuff, they're not going to want to do any marketing. They're not going to want to answer any questions that you guys could get from the gold course. They're going to want to be, as passive. They're going to want to be passive, 100% passive. So um, keep that in mind.
And I
Um,
think giving the updates passive, but if they go a step further and just always keeping that landlord up to date for the most part, I think is a very powerful, especially if you're telling them you're going to be the partner. It makes a lot of people if you're sending them a weekly update, it sounds like the house managers. It sounds like Andy's house managers just send him the update. It's not him asking. So if I had a partner and they're sending me the updates, like, okay, great, we just got another room filled. It's great to know. As an investor, I like that to get a
yeah,
weekly, or even if it's bi-weekly, or even if it's monthly, whatever is agreed upon. Just to be in the know is great. But no, not to ask me questions of their operation. That I don't want to do.
And even if you were to rent rent a property to somebody, same thing, they just want to be the operator, but you're going to have to work with them on removing like subletting and like allowing them to do their thing. Even if it was market rent, wouldn't you want them to be in the same position anyways? Would you rent to somebody that was like, hey, I'm gonna learn as I go along, I just need to you just need to rent the property to me and I'll figure it out. Would you work with somebody like that was starting out, or would you want them to have put in the legwork and have the connections and everything like that ahead of time?
Yeah, they would have to put some legwork before. If they have no experience, show me something. Show me that you're willing to work for it.
There we go.
Earn your spot on the team. Don't just, this is not an entitlement game. You gotta earn it, not
Yeah.
just expect people to give you free handouts.
And I think, guys, about 99% of investors like are going to be like that. They're going to want to know what's going on in their property. If they are going to allow you to kind of run a quote unquote group home out of their property, they're going to want to make sure that you know what you're doing, and you're not just going to bounce and leave a bunch of transitional homeless folks to fend for themselves in their property. So
And I think another thing that will happen with a lot of different, and I've heard it again on a lot of the podcast episodes, you hook up with the right tenant. Like, for example, we have a 4 bedroom, 2 bath in Las Vegas. It has a garage there. That garage could be converted. I'm not going to go ahead and convert the garage now for somebody that's not doing anything. But if somebody's in there and they're doing good work, they're paying me on time, and now they're talking to me, you know what? If you can convert this garage, I can pay you a little bit extra per month. Now I'm willing to make these changes and help them grow their business because they've been, a good business partner. And then potentially give them other properties, just like you hear over and over.
yeah, beautiful. You're preaching to the choir, but I wanted these folks to kind of hear, from because they're always hearing it from me and Andy. I wanted them to hear it direct from an investor who is, interested in the business. And, I don't think I really needed to pitch you that hard, but I think you are very open to working with our students that have put in the work, right?
100%.
Perfect. So we'll kind of we'll talk offline. Like I said, I'll get with our coaches. Now that I know you're open to other markets, we have a ton of people in our Done With You program that they are you familiar with that program?
Hmm.
Yeah. So as long as they don't ghost us, anybody that's active, they're getting the foundation done by us, and with our coaches and stuff like that. So um, we'll they're going through our system and working with us. So I'll see who's ready to rock and introduce you to those folks. Also, if are you in the school group?
I am in a school group as well.
Okay. Um,
Anybody can reach out to me there too.
yeah, if you post in here, you'll get a ton of responses. And then yeah, well, this interview will be live probably in a couple weeks. So if you want people that are out there listening to reach out, uh, let them know. You can drop a contact info, social media, or you can just I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah, I guess anybody can email me at my new email that I created for this business venture, ben@hopefirsthousing.com. Again, that's ben@hopefirsthousing.com.
And at Hope, and it's spelled out FIRST.
Yeah, HOPEFIRSTHOUSING.
Cool. And I'm writing that down. We'll throw it in the description so it's nice and easy for folks. Um, and yeah, dude, thank you so much for coming on and kind of giving people, like I said, an inside glimpse into investors. Um, Guys, not everybody that you meet in the industry is going to be as versed as Ben, but you guys can get them, interested in this just within about a minute or two of talking to investors, if you can hit those main points, you can hit the main advantages, kind of disadvantages. And then if you can talk to them like people, if you know a little bit about real estate investing, or you can talk to them about what you've done as far as marketing and networking and things like that, that's how you really cultivate these relationships. And it's a relationship. It's not just about saying something slick and getting over on a landlord and working kind of undercover and then not knowing what's going on. You you can easily quote unquote sell them on this because it's, and you've heard Ben say it a bunch of times, it's a no-brainer. Um, if you guys can follow through and do what we teach you, be honest, be confident, really come at this with a good heart. You really are looking to help, and you really want to build this out and help the community. These investors are going to be dying to work with you. So, Ben, thank you so much, man. You way more well versed than I thought, so I didn't really have to pitch you that much. But it was great for them at least to kind of hear, from an investor direct on kind of why why it makes sense for this partnership to happen.
Yeah, really appreciate you, Brandon. Appreciate Andy. Appreciate this community. Just leave people with take action. Just like Brandon says, every single one. Start your marketing. If you're not scared, call some of the for lease and just test saying it out. Would you be open to leasing? I think people will be very surprised at kind of the reactions that they get, especially if they're scared right now. So just do it. Like Nike says, just do it. Go out there, make the phone calls. It's way easier than I think a lot of people are making it out to be.
Yeah. Or if you really want to get your feet wet, you let me know if you want to make cold calls for wholesaling. You do that for a day, you get told off a couple times, and then you realize that this stuff is light work.
100%. And then Brandon hit the nail on the head. For anybody who thinks this is like difficult, this is like these are easy phone calls. These
Yeah.
are phone calls that like even if you had a VA, like VAs do pretty poorly with wholesaling because they're just getting hung up on. These are organizations that will talk to them and they're happy that they're calling. So yeah, the world's your oyster in this business. I think even for outsourcing, there's so many incredible opportunities here. It's awesome.
Dude. All right, thank you so much for coming on the pod, Ben. Stick
Appreciate it.
around for a second. We'll chop it up a little bit after the recording. Guys, make sure to like, subscribe, drop us a comment. Ben didn't really necessarily need to do all this stuff, but he's listened to 90% of our podcasts. If you're out there kind of on a tight budget, you don't have the properties to operate out of, you don't have a grant, and you haven't watched as much podcasts as him, then you're slacking. So give us a like, give us a subscribe. Check out the gold course, which we mentioned. At the time of recording, it's only 199 bucks. Join the school group. It's only 10 bucks a month. If you are short on funds and you want to get into this business, cancel your Netflix and join the school group.
On
Uh,
that.
and Ben, yeah, reach out to Ben if you guys are in the position to partner with him and bring value to them. Do not reach out to him if you guys are not ready to fill up a property, please, for the love of God. Um, and yeah, thank you so much, Ben. This is going to be super valuable for him. And guys, if you have any questions, reach out to me, Brandon at grouphomeriches.com. We'll sign off on the podcast here, and Ben, we'll stick around and chop it up.